Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Well, I know today we didn't start the show on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show talking about gold. It wasn't where we were going to go, but just so you know, it's a live show, and we'll go wherever the conversation takes us. Paul's actually joined us today to bring us up to speed on what's going on with foreclosures, specifically what's going on at auctions. And I said, well, is there any properties left at auction? Foreclosures are at a pretty much all-time low, back to historical levels, somewhere between 1% and 2%, less in California. There's a little bit of shadow inventory, but most of that's being picked up on what we call the secondary market, which is non-performing notes, right? So there's a lot of people purchasing non-performing notes, so not a lot of properties make it to auction. So educate us a little bit, Paul, on what's going on.
Well, as far as auctions go, there's a couple of types of auctions. There's both live auctions and online auctions. And predominantly it is live auctions, and these take place in a lot of the hotels near courthouses. Norwalk is one where there's a lot of auctions that take place. With these auctions, the unfortunate thing with the auctions is about 80% of them cancel prior to the auction date. And this is for a variety of reasons. It could be that the person has decided to do a short sale and the bank postpones the auction. It could be that someone decides to file bankruptcy to stall the auction and maybe to force a loan modification. And obviously a loan modification, sometimes the bank will postpone the auction while they're trying to see if they can do a loan modification to keep the person in the home. And either the lender does these loan modifications, and there's companies like Keep Your Home California here in California that do that type of thing.
And so tell me a little bit about what the average buyer looks like at an auction these days. I mean, I think there's quite a few of our clients and friends that all would like to purchase real estate as an investment. Looking back now on the market that we just went through, every house was a great investment. Any of them. I don't care which one it was. You just pick any of them, put them in your portfolio, and you would have done fantastic. I think so people get typically obsessed with this idea of getting a good deal on that one house. I mean, our whole nation was for sale. It didn't matter. You could throw a dart at anything, and it all would have appreciated. So who's the buyer today at the auction?
Well, I think predominantly at the auction you're going to see professional investors. A lot of these hedge funds and others are in there buying auction properties. It's not that often you see an individual buying something at the auction for several reasons. Typically it's cash only, especially with the live auctions. Some of the online auctions, they will allow you to finance, but most of the properties go through live auctions and it's cash only.
So assuming you have that, right, because there's plenty of people that have investment capital and they have the cash, what other holdback is there? I mean, you show up there with the cash. What's the environment like?
It's usually a feeding frenzy. There's a lot of people bidding. You oftentimes have the auctioneers who represent the banks will bid against people that are trying to buy a property until they get the price jacked up to the secret reserve that the banks have on these properties. So when you see these low opening bids, it's very misleading. These properties are not selling anywhere near the opening bid. They try to get it up to a level as close as they can to the outstanding debt on the property, if not more.
The other issue that people don't think about is once you acquire a piece of property like that, you're basically taking it subject to the existing liens of record, and if you're going to resell it or flip it, you might have a problem getting title insurance.
What about occupancy? I mean, I know that's one of the big deals. I mean, do you know what it takes to get somebody out of a house here in California? If you end up buying a house that's still occupied by the person being foreclosed on, bye-bye. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're buying these auction properties, the majority of the time there's either the existing owner or a tenant in the property, and it's the buyer's responsibility to evict those people, and it can be very costly and time-consuming.
All right, so when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Since I'm a landlord here in California, I know what this pain is like, and I'll speak from personal experience. So when we come back, I want to make sure we cover that, and then I want to talk a little bit about why hedge funds, because you did mention hedge funds as the typical buyer, so I want to get into that real quick. On the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on your hometown station AM 1220, we'll be right back.